Hey, everybody. Hope you had a good summer. Welcome back to the fall semester. In this Flex presentation, I'm going to go over starting your own faculty YouTube channel. So I'm going to go over some basic facts about YouTube, maybe some things you didn't know about it. Go over why you might think about starting a channel, why you might consider it, what some of the benefits, advantages of it might be. And then I'll go through very briefly just the very basic steps of how you would set up your account and set up your channel to the point where you could upload videos. So, a little background on me. I started a YouTube channel, a faculty YouTube channel, 2.5 years ago, immediately as we went into the pandemic. So you remember there was spring break, and that was when everything shut down. And pretty much that week, I decided I'm going to start a channel because I want to make videos, pre-recorded videos for students to watch. And so I decided to start the channel. Now, I was Canvas certified at the time, but I wasn't super familiar with Canvas. I hadn't used it for classes at that point. So I knew that Canvas had the ability to host videos and do that, but I was much more familiar with YouTube. I mean, I'd been using YouTube for 8 or 10 years up until then. So I just was more familiar with it, and it just seemed more natural direction to go. And I wanted to get started quickly. I didn't want to wait around. I wanted to just jump right in and start things. So I'm aware that there's a lot of different ways that you can go about making content accessible to students now through Canvas that have developed over the past few years. But this is something that I started to do just at the moment. And so once I kind of had everything set up myself, I just kept with it. So that's kind of where I come from. I started this as the pandemic immediately started and have kind of maintained it ever since. Now, what I'm not going to go over in this video is actually how to create content for the channel. I actually have a separate Flex presentation this semester that you might want to check out. It's titled "How to Make Professional Math and Science YouTube Lectures," and I said math and science in the title of that, but it really could be applicable to any subject. The reason I kind of singled out math and science is because I think there are some challenges in math and science that are unique to those subjects when making pre-recorded video lectures, so I wanted to kind of address some of those. But I do go through the process that I've developed over the past couple of years for creating pre-recorded lectures in that other Flex presentation. And you certainly might get ideas from that. So if you're interested in watching that, I would encourage you to do that. But I'm not going to get into actually creating content in this particular presentation. This is just going to be on the YouTube channel itself and why you might want to do it and why you might want to set it up. So to begin, I'm sure everyone has some kind of knowledge about what YouTube is. Everybody knows what YouTube is. But I just want to go over some quick facts about it because you may not be aware of just how big a presence it is in social media and how big a platform it is globally. So let me go over just a few quick facts about YouTube as a platform. So YouTube is, of course, an online video sharing and social media platform. Founded almost 20 years ago, February 2005. Very shortly after, acquired by Google, which is now Alphabet, in October 2006. So it is the second most visited website on Earth. Obviously, the most visited website on Earth is Google itself, the search engine Google. But just to give you an idea of just the immense scope and reach of YouTube, it has a higher traffic and higher engagement rate than Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram all combined together. So that gives you an idea about just how massive the platform is. If you think just how big Facebook is, and we think the influence that Facebook has in the world and Twitter, it is bigger than Facebook and Twitter and Instagram all combined. Roughly 1 out of every 4 humans on Earth are active YouTube users. That's kind of stunning. And when you say active users, that doesn't just mean somebody that stumbles on a video in a search result. It means somebody who actually has a YouTube account that they use to watch videos. And they have used it at least once in the past month. So they have an active account that they've set up and watched something in the past month. 1/4 of all humans on Earth. YouTube accounts for about 1/3 of all global mobile internet traffic. 1/3. Approximately 8 hours of content are uploaded to YouTube every second. Every single second. And over 1 billion hours of content are viewed every day. So, again, this should give you an idea of just how massive this platform is and the reach that it has, not just in the US, but globally. So let's talk about why you might consider starting a faculty YouTube channel. Because there is a fair amount of investment of time and energy into this. So, I think people should be convinced of some reasons why they should put in this time and effort to do it. So I'm going to go through some reasons why you might want to consider doing this. Some of these reasons are more personal in that they're important to me, but other reasons would apply to anybody. So for me, one of the reasons that I really like having my own YouTube channel is that I have direct control over the content. In other words, the files I have on my desktop, I have them in the cloud, I have them on YouTube. I'm not just recording videos and having them hosted on a server that the school maintains. Now, I don't mean to say that that's unreliable or that you should be paranoid about the content that you have stored with the school, but I just have that feeling of just having more ownership over the content, having those files myself, and having control over how they're uploaded and maintained myself. You can organize content for student needs. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. So one of the things that I use on my channel is playlists. So if you're not familiar, a playlist is basically just a list of videos. So I have created playlists in my online classes for content in those classes, and I make them unlisted, which means people can't just find this playlist themselves unless they're in the class. But it does provide a way that if somebody wants to go and say, I don't remember about this particular topic that we talked about a couple weeks ago, they don't need to actually go into the modules in Canvas and try and search for where the video is. They can go directly to the playlist and scroll through until they find it there. So everything you can kind of organize into a nice, concise list that they can access directly from there, instead of going into Canvas or trying to search Canvas pages. Also, if you have a playlist like this and they have their own personal YouTube account, they can just access that playlist through YouTube. So they don't actually have to log into Canvas to do that. Another example of the way that you can use YouTube to organize content is at the end of videos, you can have links to future videos come up. So even if they're not in the playlist, when they get to the end of a video, if there's one that they should watch immediately after that, you can actually have the link to it come up, and they'll be directed to that. So there's different ways that you can organize content. Flexible student access and communication. So one thing I like about having a YouTube channel is you can make video announcements. So I'll make video announcements and upload them to YouTube. And then you can just use that direct link and just send it out to students or embed it into Canvas. And actually, if the class hasn't even started yet, you can do this before the class has started. So what I'll do is I'll make a video announcement, a video introduction to the class a week or a week and a half, 2 weeks before the class starts. I have it uploaded, I have the link, and then I just send that out over email. So you just, because you have the students, right? You have their email addresses in My Delta. You can just send out an introductory email to them, and inside the email, you can just say, oh, and here's a link to a video announcement that you can watch. And I found it's really, I think it's really good when you're introducing before the class starts. If they're able to see you and hear you talk, and you can show things on screen and show them how things are going to be organized. It's just, I think it's a lot better introduction before the class starts than just a text written email. And then during the class, I use video announcements, but also you can use different features such as you can use private videos. So if somebody asks a question, or they have a particular paper they want to talk about, or just something that you don't want to make, you want to give a response to a student, but you don't want everybody to see it. You could make that response. You could make a response just to them over YouTube, set the video to private, and then just give that one student the access code or the code to watch it, and nobody else would be able to watch it. So that's something that could be useful as well. You can share content or create content that is unrelated to any of your classes. So you can make videos on things that aren't necessarily topics that you're teaching. So say, like I'm a math teacher, so I make specific videos for my classes on specific topics. But I could also make a video just on some interesting problem I come across, or just some interesting topic that I think other people might be interested in, and I can upload it and people can watch it. So you're really more creating a space for sharing your knowledge and your content, not just with your classes, but with people who are not in your classes. You're sharing content with learners outside of the college. And a lot of math professors who have their channels do this. In fact, after a while, some of them, that becomes their major focus of attention, is actually making just content just to appeal to the general public, or a particular kind of math audience that's independent of their students. But you can find a balance between those. And this is something that I think is important, is that if you have a faculty YouTube channel, it is a public face of the college, right? So people can hit upon it when they're searching for things. They can see it when they're out on the internet, and it's a public face of what we're doing at the college. So to me, I think that this is a way to really outreach and get student recruitment. I know that something we're talking about a lot recently is our enrollment numbers, and having if you have a faculty webpage and students or potential students are able to see that channel and able to see, wow, there's exciting things going on here. There's interesting content. This looks interesting. maybe I'd like to consider going to Delta because it seems like there's interesting stuff going on there. So that's another positive aspect, I think, of faculty having their own channels. For me personally, one other advantage that I like about the channel is that I will be able to keep it as a media platform that I've developed after I leave the college, however many years that happens to be. So, for instance, right now, I have almost 200 subscribers. Not very much, but still, it's a bit. But if I, and that's really without making too big an effort to really grow it. I mean, some people really put in the effort to actively increase their subscribers and their views and everything. I don't really do that, and I just over the past 2 years, without really trying, I got to about 200 subscribers. But who knows, in several years or however long, when I retire or leave the college, I will still have that platform and that community and that base, and I could continue using that channel however I want after that, just as a media platform, so I don't have to start from scratch. So that's something that I'm thinking about as I develop it. And lastly, it's fun. So it's challenging, and it can be very intimidating at first, but I think it's fun to develop. So those are some of the reasons why you might want to consider a channel. And just as one last thought on this, if you're not too familiar with YouTube as far as the content on it, there's two kinds of people who are going to create educational content on YouTube, right? So there's going to be somebody who is very into social media, video production, kind of the tech side of things. So they understand about engagement, search engine optimization, the technology that they need, and all that kind of stuff. And then they think, oh, well, what am I going to talk about? Well, I know a little bit about this, so I'll make a channel about that. That's something that I could create content for. Of course, the other direction somebody could come is they're a professional educator. So they have a higher degree in the subject. That's what their job is. They have a lot of experience teaching a subject, and they're very familiar with it. And they decide that they're going to learn the social media aspect and the content creation and the production and the video and all that kind of stuff, the social media, as a way of enhancing their educational goals. And what I've found is that, a lot of the people who are coming at it from the tech side, they're coming at it from the social media side, and they choose a subject to talk about. They are not experts. I mean, a lot of what they create is good, but they may not even have a bachelor's in the subject. They really, to be honest, a lot of them, they will start creating content immediately after they pass the class. Like they think, oh, I got through this class with B's and C's, so that makes me qualified to teach the whole world about this subject. You have to be really careful about what you find on YouTube as far as content, especially for things like science and math. And that has been the majority of content, educational content on YouTube for a long time, until quite recently, especially in something like math or science, it was just kind of people who picked it up just on their own and thought, I think I know enough about this, so I'll go ahead and do it. It's only really quite recently, I'd say the last 2 or 3 years, and I think COVID, right, has a lot to do with this. About the last 2 or 3 years that a lot of professional educators have really taken this on and really started to form a presence in this space, where you can tell that they're really bringing high quality content, pedagogical content, to YouTube. And really, up until recently, it was rare. So you might think, well, you know, what could I offer here if I do a video on certain particular topic or subject? You'd be surprised. There are a lot of topics and subjects that you're just not going to find something on them, especially if they're just a little bit advanced or you know, just a little bit above the basics. So, you know, don't think that it's not saturated, is what I'm saying. There's still a lot of room for you to find a niche for something that you might want to offer. For instance, in mathematics, until quite recently, like a year or two ago, if I was looking for like really in-depth videos on kind of advanced math topics like upper division, graduate level, there's a lot of stuff that's just not there. It's very difficult to find, and what it is you know, some of it might be questionable. So there's a lot of space still left, even though this has been around a long time. There's a lot of space left for content creation. Okay, so let me go through the steps, just the very basic steps to get you started. You could really make like 4 or 5 hours introduction to getting started with YouTube, but I just want to go through the very basics, and then you could go from there searching out other information that you want. So if you're not familiar with YouTube, you have to access YouTube. Well, I mean, you don't have to be logged in to watch videos, but to make a YouTube channel, you have to have a Google account. So that's the first thing you're going to need to do, is create a Google account. Now, there's one misconception with a Google account that I think a lot of people have, is that you have to associate it with the Gmail email address, that you have to create a Gmail account, and then you can get a Google account. There's actually a way that you can create a Google account through a non-Gmail account. So for instance, my faculty channel, the email address I used is my school email, right? So I just used the school email instead of Gmail. That is possible, and that's what I would recommend doing. So this is the page that you want to go to create a Google account. And this is another tip here. I chose what's called a brand account, or manage a business account. And you might think, well, why would you want to do that? Like, it's not really a business, you know. So, but the fact is, with a brand account, you have certain advantages, certain features that you don't have with just a personal account that could be helpful. So, for instance, you can have multiple people log into it without having access to your Gmail. You can make changes to it that are kind of separate from the Gmail. It kind of creates a barrier between the YouTube channel and the Gmail, the Google account itself. And here's where you would type in the email address you want to use. You would create the account right here. Next, you're going to log into YouTube through your Google account. Now, that doesn't actually create your channel. What it means is that, you know, you just have a YouTube account, so you're watching videos and creating playlists or whatever. But it doesn't actually create your channel. So what I'm going to do is go in and show you, after you've logged in, where you would go to create the channel itself. So here I am logged into my account. Now, where you would go to create your account is you would go up to here to this little icon here. Now, until you do your profile pic, it's not going to have a pic here. It's just going to have, like, you know, generic letter, I think. And here it says your channel, because I've already created, but this would be where you would, it would say create channel. And you would click on that, and that would have you create the channel. Let me click on this, and I'll show you what it shows me when I go to channel. So this is just how my channel looks. You can see here, have your videos. So this will just bring up a list of my videos. Basically, this is just showing me how the channel looks presented to others. Now, there's various options over here, which I can go over some of those in a minute. Customized channel. That's things like the profile pic and the banner up here. Now, one thing that you're going to need to do after you create the channel is enable some advanced features with phone verification. This is really important because without doing this, for one thing, you cannot upload any videos that are longer than 15 minutes, I believe. So you definitely have to do that. So to set up these advanced features, you're going to go over again to this profile pic in the upper right. You go to settings. And here, well, since I'm already set this up, I can't really exactly show you what it would look like, but you can see here it says channel status and features. And you can see when I click on that, it brings up this. So it says feature eligibility. So before you have done this, it would have standard features, but these intermediate features and advanced features would not be enabled. So you would have to, it's a phone verification. Just like a lot of websites, you give them their phone number, they send a code, you put in the code, and you have access to those. So you have to do that. The next thing you're going to want to do is upload a profile pic, a header, and a short channel description. Now, you don't have to do these, but I mean, I would highly encourage it because it doesn't look very pleasing to look at a channel and it just has the generic, kind of letter. There's no header, doesn't say anything about what it is. So this is, really kind of important to do just to have some basic presentation of what your channel looks like. So if we were back here at our channel page, the profile pic here, you can see you just click on this here, edit profile pic. Okay, and you can change that or remove it and put something else. And you can do the same thing for the banner up here. Banner image. Okay. So I just chose some kind of stock image that I found that had some math on it on a chalkboard. And the description, if you go to about, this is what's going to show for your description. If you go customize channel, okay, so this is this channel customization page is really the place where you can kind of organize how your channel will appear to people. So I'm not going to get into everything here, but you can control things like the layout. So there's a choice you can have of it's called the channel trailer. This is people who have not subscribed. They will see a particular video. There's a featured video for returning subscribers. You see, I haven't even bothered with that yet. And then featured sections. So you can organize, there's different choices you can have for what appears just below your banner and your introductory video. And you can move them around and change them into different orders. There's branding. I use a video watermark. So this is like a little thing that comes up at the bottom right of all your videos. Kind of just says, this is my video. And basic info. So this is where you want to include, this is important that you include just a little bit here. So that when people click on that about, that's what they'll read. There's also the URLs here and contact info. So that is the channel customization. So now let's talk about the YouTube Creator Studio. This is where you're going to be spending most of your time if you're a content creator. It's where you actually upload the videos. It's where you have control over the settings of all the videos. It's It's where you can control the access, whether they're unlisted, public, or private, all sorts of things there. So let me just give you a really brief tour of what the Creator Studio looks like and how you would use it. So you're going to access the studio again in the upper right corner here. This is kind of the place where you go to get access to everything. And you're just going to go down underneath the Your Channel button is the YouTube Studio. And so click on that. Studio. Okay. And so this is called, on the left here, the channel, this is called the channel dashboard. So now a lot of this stuff, to be honest, is really for people who are super into growing their audience and their subscriptions, and they're probably thinking about monetization. I don't think that's something that most of us, it's not something I'm interested in or actively working towards right now. But there will be a lot of things here that'll tell you different statistics about the most popular videos, your kind of engagement. Again, I don't really know much about the analytics because it's just not important to me at the moment. But it is possible to see a lot of that stuff. Okay, let's go to content. So here's a list of all the videos, and you can see the vast majority of mine are unlisted. So there are 3 choices on the visibility: private, unlisted, and public. The private is the choice if you just want to have just 1 or 2 people watch it, then they will have to have the specific code in order to access it. Otherwise, nobody else will be able to watch it. Unlisted means that it doesn't show up on the YouTube app or the YouTube website, and it doesn't show up in search results either. But if you know the URL, so if you actually send the URL to somebody, then they can bring it up and watch it. So this is what I use for the material in my class, is I make the video unlisted, but then you can embed the video into Canvas, and I'll show you a way to do that. You can embed the video because it's still accessible to people. It's just they have to know the URL. Public is what it sounds like. It's completely public. It will show up on your channel as one of your videos. It will show up in search results on YouTube and on Google and everywhere. So those are the 3 choices for visibility. Playlists here. So this is what I was talking about the different playlists that you can have for different classes. And some of these I have are quite long. I should probably consider breaking them into smaller ones. But let's say that you have a particular chapter or topic in a class that you want to do, and it's maybe, I don't know, 10, 12, 15, 20 videos. And so if you put those into a playlist, then they can just immediately go to the playlist and they can see how they're all organized together. As I said, analytics, I don't worry about too much. Content, subtitles. So it is possible with YouTube, they have an auto closed captioning generator. It's not great, but it is possible to go in afterwards and edit it. So you can do that, or you can just directly upload text. So if you actually have a script that you've written up, or a script that you would want people to have access to if they cannot hear the video, then you can actually put that into the closed captioning directly, and that is what will show up. Okay, so there's a number of other different things here, but this is really the main place that you're going to be spending your time. Now, to actually upload videos, how do you upload videos? You're going to go over here to Create, and you click Upload Videos, and you just do Select Files and Upload. It does take some time to upload videos. I do MP4s, and I would say it roughly takes maybe, I don't know, 30, 40% of the length of the video. So if it's a 40-minute video, might take 10 or 15 minutes to upload. So it does take some time. Okay, so why don't I show you how you can integrate these into Canvas? Because that's really what I think a lot of people might be using this for, is you want to have your pre-recorded videos on your channel, but then you want to have them directly in the module of your Canvas. So let me show you how you go about doing that. Okay, so this is our channel content page. So let's say that we wanted to embed this video on scientific notation into one of our Canvas modules. Then what I'm going to do is first go over here and click on View on YouTube. So I click on that. And a separate page for this comes up. And then I'm going to go down here to Share. And what you'll see is when Share comes up, there's a whole number of different social media options that come up. But all that you're going to do is click Embed. Okay, so Embed, and then you can either click Copy, or you can just click on here and click Control-C. So, and what that'll do is that'll take this entire HTML text here and put it into the clipboard. Now, it is possible there's an option here to start at a certain time. So let's say I wanted to start the video, I wanted to embed it so that when they clicked play, it would start at 5 minutes in. So I could just change this to 5 minutes and then copy. And that would give me the text to start it at 5. And you see there, it actually says start equals 300. I normally have this just unchecked because I normally want the video to just start at the beginning. So I just hit copy. And then I'll show you when you go into Canvas what you do. So this is my Math 2 class coming up this fall. Let's say, so this is just for the sake of illustration. Let's say I wanted to drop this into one of these modules. I don't know. Let's say average value of a function. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here. Okay, so you're going to click on Edit, of course, and then so you have this this place where you're entering and stuff, and then you're going to use this option that's just to the right of the number of words. Click or shift click for HTML editor. So what this is going to do is allow you to do the raw HTML. And it took me a while to kind of figure out that it was possible to do this. For a long time, I was just directly putting in the URLs into the page, which it's kind of awkward. It's not really a good size, and it just doesn't look very good. It's much better to do this embedding. So you click on this. Now you have the raw HTML. And what you can do is, move myself a little bit. You can go to, let's say this is where I wanted to embed it. I can just click Control V, and then I have embedded the video. And I usually enclose it with the paragraph markers as well. And then you'll see when I click on this again to go back, there it is. And there's my video in scientific notation. And then students can click on this and directly watch the video on the page. They do not have to go to a separate page. They can click on a separate page to watch it in YouTube, but they can also watch it just on the module page itself. So that is how you would embed a video. So those are the steps that you're going to go through. Just to summarize again, you're going to create your Google account. I would use your school email and use a brand or business account. Log into YouTube through that account. Click on the Create Channel in the upper right to create your channel. Do the phone verification to get access to the advanced features. Upload a profile pic, header, and the channel description. And then you can start uploading videos and changing them in the Creator Studio. So there's a lot of things I could go into the Creator Studio and show you about particular videos, about what you could do as far as like end credits and different options that you have to make particular videos stand out, or different features you can have there. But that's kind of another topic. And as far as the creation of the videos and the process that I go through, again, I do that in the other Flex presentation, where I go over the kind of process that I use about how to actually record the videos. So, for instance, right now I have a Zoom session open. That's where I have my picture up here. I'm using a program called PDF Annotator, which is a PDF software where you can actually write on the PDF. So I use that to do the lectures. So I have like a problem, and then I write on it below. And then I have Screencast-O-Matic, which is the same software that's inside of Canvas, except I use a downloaded version that I've paid for a license. But I go through all that in the other Flex presentation. So those are the steps that you're going to go through. I hope this helped everyone as far as, if you're considering doing this or you hadn't thought of it, what you might think of it now. It can be quite intimidating. There's a lot to pick up, and there's a lot of different options. When you go and create your channel, you'll just kind of see like all this stuff, different options and different tabs and stuff. And again, it can be kind of overwhelming at first, but the advice that I would give to you if you're considering doing this is just take it one step at a time. You don't have to learn everything at once. It's very possible to learn a little bit and then just use the little bit that you've learned for your videos, and then pick up more as you go along. So you don't have to have all the different kind of bells and whistles on your videos when you're starting. You can just upload basic videos and then learn the different things you can add on to them later. You don't have to do all the different custom channelization, the channel customization things at the beginning. You can just have the basic channel set up. You don't have to do anything about search engine optimization or any of the kind of stuff that people are concerned with. You can just use it just as you want it, just for your classes. So I wouldn't let the kind of all the different options involved overwhelm you. You just take it one step at a time. So if you have any questions or anything you want to ask me that wasn't covered in this video, you can email me at darren.brown, DARAN.BROWN @deltacollege.edu, or you can just drop a comment into this video itself, and I can respond there. So I hope you have a good rest of your Flex week, and that your semester starts off well next week. Thanks.